Please remember, as usual, don't forget to sanitize your hands. Okay, very important. Secondly, you make sure you keep your social distance. Okay, very important. And lastly, always ensure that you always put on your mask. So, today, we are going to tackle the topic of prime numbers and composite numbers. Okay, so the topic for today is prime numbers and composite numbers. Let's quickly go to page 10. So, follow with me. It says, previously you have learned that we could determine the factors of a number, okay? And here are the factor pairs of 24 drawn in a rainbow. Now, if you can remember this work, if we have the number 24, for example, 1 and 24 will be factor pairs. You'll also notice that both of them, which is 1 and 24, they are in the red color of the rainbow. And if you take 1 multiplied by 24, it will also give you 24. The next number, or at least the next factor pairs, is 2 and 12. And if you take 2 times 12, it will also give you 24. And then we have 3 and 8. Multiply those two will also give you 24. And then lastly, we have 4 and 6, which are also factor pairs of 24. So, the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24, they are factors of 24. Now, the reason why we are talking about factors is because this whole topic of prime numbers and composite numbers has to do with factors. And we are going to look at a couple of factors now. So, let's look at the list of factors below. So, we have 18, 16, 7, 6, 5, and 1. Now, if we look at 18, the factors of 18 is 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, and 18, which is a total of 6 factors. And then we have 16, which is 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16 itself, which is a total of 5 factors. And then we have 7. And 7 only has 1 and itself. In other words, 1 and 7. So it only has 2 factors. And then we have 6, which has factors of 1, 2, 3, and 6. And that is a factor of, a total of 4 factors. And then we have 5, which again, just like 7, only have 1 and 5 as factors, which is only 2 factors. And then lastly, we have 1, which is probably the most unique number, and it only has 1 factor. Now, if we go on the next page, which is page 11, it says, from the above, we can establish 3 important factors, or at least from the previous page. Now, first of all, let's talk about the number 1. All right? Now, it says there that the number 1 is a special number in a group of its own, and it has only 1 factor. Now, this number 1 has created a lot of controversy because a lot of learners say it's a prime number. Some say no, it's not a prime number. We will look into that. Now, let's quickly go to prime number. Before we touch on composite numbers, let's just see what do they say. What is a prime number? It says there that a prime number only has two factors, 1 and itself. It continues to say that prime numbers are opposite of composite numbers. They are special numbers that can only be divided by 1 or itself without a remainder. For example, 5 is a prime number. 2, 3, and 4 cannot divide into 5. Only 1 and itself can divide into 5. Now let's quickly go back to page 10. If you look at the list of those numbers there, notice that the number 7 is a prime number. The other number that is also a prime number is 5. Why are they prime numbers? Because they only have two factors. Now, I want you to notice the difference. Let's go back to page 11. The reason why 1 cannot be regarded as a prime number is because it only has one factor. Okay? In order for a number to be considered as a prime number, it must have two factors, which is 1 and that number itself. Now let's look at composite numbers. It says composite numbers have more than two factors. Composite numbers are the opposite of prime numbers. Composite numbers are whole numbers that are divisible by 1, the number itself, and more factors. For example, 21 is a composite number because 1, 3, 7, and itself can divide into 21. So in layman's terms, in other words, in simple English, a composite number must have 3 or more factors. Now let's quickly go back to the previous page on page 10. Which numbers do you think are composite numbers? That's right, it will be 18, 16, as well as 6. Okay? So, to sum this up, 1 is not a prime number, nor is it a composite number. Alright? A prime number must and only has two factors. Alright? And then lastly, a composite number must have 3 or more factors. Are we together? Okay, let's get ready for our activity. Alright, let's go to page 11. It says there that follow the instruction below to find all the prime numbers to 100. In other words, from 1 to 100. Now, it also says that the first 50 numbers have been done for you. Okay? Now, there is a certain way how to discover your prime numbers, and we are going to do this step by step. So let's go to page 12. Now, there are certain instructions that we need to carry out so that we can discover our prime numbers. And at the same time, we will also be able to discover our composite number, but we will come later there. Okay, A. A instructs us to cross out 1 in other words, the number 1, which is not a prime number, okay? So number 1 is not playing in this activity because it's not a prime number. It's kind of weird for now. So 1 is not a prime number, nor is it a composite number. So let's go to B. B says, color in all multiples of 2 except 2. In case you have forgotten what the word multiples are, multiples is like this. Like if you are asked, what are the multiples of 4? It will be 4, 8, 16, 20, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. Those are multiples, okay? So, color in all the multiples of 2 except 2. And then C, color out or color in all the multiples of 3 except 3. And then D, it also say color out all the multiples of 5 except 5. And then E, color out all the multiples of 7 except 7. Now, once you are done, at least up to E, you're going to notice certain things. You will notice that some numbers are colored and some numbers are not colored. So what does that mean? All the numbers that are not colored, they are your prime numbers. Okay? And if we look at question F, it says, put a circle around the numbers that are left. In other words, those numbers that are not colored, put a circle around it. In other words, encircle them, because they will be your prime numbers. Now, if those numbers that you are encircling right now are your prime numbers, then obviously it means the rest of the numbers will be composite numbers. Okay? So I want to encourage you that you do this, take your time, and make sure that everything is correct. Because once you are done with that activity, it will help you to answer the question 2 part of this activity. So let's look at question 2. 2A. Once you are done coloring your activity or and circling, now we do question 2. And then it starts to ask, how many prime numbers do we have from 1 to 100? Okay? So you go back to your activity, to your table, and then you discover those numbers that you encircle. How many are they? Okay? 2B, it says, how many composite numbers do we have from 1 to 100? How many composite numbers do we have from 1 to 100? And then 2C asks, which number is the only even number? If you have forgotten what not only even number, but only even prime number. Remember the word even, okay? It's like numbers that ends with 2, 4, 6, 8, and 0. All right? So the question is, which number is the only prime number? If I have to restructure the question, is which number is the only prime number that is even? Okay? Now, you will notice that there is a typing error there because there are 2 C's. So the second C, okay, is asking which column has the most prime numbers. Now, I just quickly want us to go to our table so that I can explain to you what is a column. Now, you will notice on top of the table, there are letters A to J. If we look at the letter D, for example, there is 4, 14, 24, 34, 44, 54, 64, 74, and 84, and then 94. All these numbers, I can say they are in the column of D. Are we together? So all those numbers fall under the column of D. Okay, let's proceed. Now that you understand what is a column, let's look at 2D. Which column has the most composite numbers? Right, discover that. And then we have E. Which column has the least prime numbers? And then lastly is which column has the least composite numbers? Okay? All right, I think that should be easy for you to do as if you have done your table correctly. And take your time and study the table thoroughly. Okay? Now, number 3 is who am I? This activity has to do with identifying the number. In other words, which number is speaking here? Right? Which number is speaking? A, 3A, for example, will say, I am the only prime number between 81 and 90. So which number is that? Which number is speaking like that? Saying that I am the only prime number between 81 and 90. B, I am the smallest composite number between 31 and 40. Which number do you think that is? So again, go back to your table and discover which number is that, which is the smallest composite number between 31 and 40. Number 3, I am the biggest prime number. Now, obviously, this will mean the biggest from 1 to 100. Okay, so keep it within the table, right? In other words, in that table that you have just completed, which number is the biggest prime number? And then D is asking for 3 numbers. It says, we are the only 3 composite numbers that end with the number 3. In other words, find those 3 composite numbers that has their unit as 3. In other words, it ends with the number 3. Okay? All right, now let's go to the next page, which is page 13. Page 13 is asking, find the nearest prime number before and after the number written in the circle. Now, if we look at A, there is the number 8 there. So, on your left-hand side should be the smaller number, and on your right-hand side should be the bigger number. Okay? In other words, the prime number. Now, the prime number, which is next to 8, in other words, the nearest prime number next to 8. Let me just help you a little bit there at A. The nearest prime number before 8, it will be 7. Are you getting it? But the nearest prime number after 8, be careful, is not 9. Why? Because 9 is not a prime number. Because 9, the factors of 9 is 1, 3, and 9. So it's not that we are looking for odd numbers here. We are looking for prime numbers. So just be vigilant on that one. So now that I've given you an idea on how to do A, I'm sure you'll be able to do the rest. Okay? So for B, you do for 35, C you do for 18, and then D you do for 95. All right, and lastly, number 5. Is 15 a prime number? When we look at the number 15, some will say it's a prime number. Some say, no, it's not a prime number. What do you think? And also, once you have stated whether it's a prime number or not, please give a reason for your answer. Why are you saying it's not a prime number? Okay? So I hope that you will enjoy this activity, and all the best. All right, before we say goodbye, we just want to remind you that please remember to always sanitize your hands, okay? And make sure that you keep your social distance. Don't forget your mask, all right? And until next time, see you.
Hi everyone. You can't hug your friends anymore, but you can still give yourself some love, or you can practice how to blow hugs. Yeah, 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 yeah. And until next time, bye.
Kain kos, kain sis, kain ai, Namibia ice. Tidage sister huldan navasida. Tidage ai ho out. Namibia oncology center ngara sisen ai comes nga. Ti kwedo. Bounce ai hari. Oms nga hari. Oma bada nga hure. Ngugu sida gini ha ugu. Habe da gedo ngugu sida ga ha ugu habe. Hang are ugu ha. Hoge bounce ai hari. Ida kadi nedi I 2019 novel coronavirus sting higusa. Au. Bounce ai hari.
Akili, akili, akili.
Wash away the germs. Akili and Happy Hippo have come to play with Little Lion. Little Lion doesn't want to play. He's afraid of germs. Germs can make you sick. Don't worry, Little Lion. We will get rid of the bad germs and then you can play with us. They hunt for germs high and low, inside and outside. But the germs are nowhere to be found. What are you looking for? Asked Miss Shrub. We're looking for germs, says Akili. Germs? Germs are everywhere. They are so tiny that you can't see them with your eyes. When you touch something dirty, germs hide on your hands. With water and soap, you can get rid of the germs and make your hands clean. You must wash both sides of your hands, under your nails, and between your fingers. We will wash away the germs and make your hands clean. Akili, get fresh water. Happy Hippo, get soap. Wash, wash, wash with water. Scrub, scrub, scrub with soap. Rinse, rinse, rinse with water, and the germs will be gone. Akili and Happy Hippo run to tell Little Lion that they found a way to get rid of the germs. After we go to the toilet, after we sneeze, when we cook, and before we eat, we wash, wash, wash with water. We scrub, scrub, scrub with soap. We rinse, rinse, rinse with water. And the germs will be gone. Now we can play all day because we know how to keep the germs away. After all that playing, it's time for cake and tea. But remember to always wash your hands before you eat. The end.